Alright, so today we're going to start off by Zulu modding the cylinder head on this one, and then we're going to take it to a machine shop to get cleaned out, hopefully get these valves that are stuck. So as you can see, we were able to get that one and that one removed, and these three we were able to hammer out, but I didn't feel like hammering these. But I looked up online, and there's a thing called stuck valves, which is from sludge building up and keeping valves stuck open usually on an engine. So I think that's what this is. It's just so cold outside that the sludge that's in here is making the valves harder. When we were removing the valves on my engine, we had a couple that were kind of stuck, but I was able to get removed. But that was also 10 to 15 degrees warmer a month ago. So I think those would have been just as hard as these. So I think it's more like just the sludge and the coldness is keeping them. So we're going to bring it to a machine shop. They're going to dip it in a hot bath. That's usually how you clean a lot of parts. It's just hot water. I mean, you can't do too hot with aluminum because aluminum is a softer material than steel and iron. But that should just free them up, and they should just be able to come right out. But before we bring it over there, like I said, we're going to Zulu mod. So as you see, there's these coolant jackets all on this motor. This is the intake side, this is the exhaust side. But there isn't one back here. But on the block, as is the head gasket, there's a spot for one. So a lot of people think this is one of the reasons why the 7Ms blow a head gasket usually in the back, because they don't have proper coolant flow on the back of the head. Because here's the thing, the 5M head has it, all the blocks have a spot, but the 7M head didn't. So a little combination of the EGR cooler and that just builds up too much heat in the back of the cylinder head. You know, so, and it's funny because the reason why we're doing this head is because the helicoil kit that I ordered from Amazon for the other Mississippi head didn't come in time. But guess what came in today?
Oh no!
The helicoil kit. This nice and pretty little case with this little like presentable package. But we don't need that today. Yeah. So what we're gonna do? So we're gonna get some bolts. Stick them in here just to kind of hold the head gasket right in its perfect spot. And I'm just going to use some copper spray gasket and spray right here. And then we're going to drill it. And I would normally cover all this up to keep metal shavings out. But since we're going to go get it cleaned, all that's going to get cleaned out anyway. So it's kind of like perfect timing in a lot of ways.
It's like a sauna day for the head.
Yeah. Sauna. It's going to get a nice cucumber wrap.
Yeah. Nice rejuvenation.
Exfoliation. Yeah.
It'll be worth it.
So I brought out my big T-pitcher of bolts
Always
that I've
useful.
collected over the years. This is actually the second pitcher. The first pitcher was a little weak because it was a used pitcher. So the plastic was a little weak. So this is the second T-pitcher. Anyway, yeah, we just put some bolts in through the head studs and put this used gasket. Because I'm not going to drill the exact shape of this. I'm going to drill just a little smaller just to give myself a margin of error. But yeah. So this is not too cold for this will spray. Yeah, there we go. And just boom. That's it. And then and see, a mark. I mean, there was kind of a mark already there, but I just want another clean one. Just keep a hand right there. Like, look, just set up the. You know what I mean? Just in case, as I'm pressing it, it tips. Yeah, you don't want not on the box. I want it on the head. Right here. Yeah. Just to make sure. All right, and we're drilling.
The box cracked. The lid.
Let's get a 2x4. Let's lift this and put this off the edge. Yep. Next. Oh, get my shoes on me. Oh no. Oh no.
We have to hose them down with compressed air.
And this is a quarter. This is what I was looking for. Yep. You know what's time? Now it's time for the Dremel.
Yep.
And we're done. It's not perfect right here. And I think I cut a little too much on this side, but better than it was.
Let's see if we can get to see the day. Oh, look, they can see the daylight.
Cool. Yeah.
Kinda, sorta.
Yeah. Should be fine because, I mean, if you look at the thickness between the cylinders themselves, this is still fine, I think.
I mean, it's still got a lot of meat on it. It's not like you made it paper thin.
And I'm not going for insane boost levels or anything. Alright, so off to the machine shop. We in the Galuzzo Crown Vic, yo. We got all that room up in this bitch. Oh, yeah.
When compared to the Celica,
Yeah.
There's like a whole 2 feet almost between us.
Yeah, look at that. He's like way over there. Oh, my God. We just got finished dropping off at Overspeed Motorsports.
Yep.
Back to the house.
Yeah, back to the house.
Wait till it's done.
Yep.
So while we wait on the head to be done, I've decided to drill a hole in my cast iron block. You know, for fun. No, but what it is this bolt, these 2 bolts right here, they hold the AC compressor, the big pulley in the front of the engine. Yeah, right there. So on the 5M, that's not where the tensioner pulley was. Like, I think it was somewhere else. But there's these 2 holes on the front plate and on this back plate, but there's no hole in the block for it. The gasket has it, but there's no hole in the block. So I'm drilling a hole out that's been measured. That's how much I got to drill in, that little bit right there. And then I got to thread that to this 10 millimeter. So that's what we're doing. Some people are like, oh, you drilled a whole block. Yes, it's dangerous, but there's nothing there, because that's where, like, the casting didn't change. They were just like, between the 5M and the 6M and the 7Ms, the castings were the same. They were just different things that were drilled out for them. So like on the 7M GT, it was drilled out for a turbo drain. It's there, all the metal is there on the 5M and the 6M and the 7M. The 7M GT just get it drilled out. So it's a lot of the same stuff here. You know, the dangerous part is cracking a bit in there, or drilling too much, or something else like that. And I have these 2 plates bolted on here to use as a guide. That was most of the main reason for these 2 plates. And so when I'm drilling in, I have a guide to keep me center. Because I started off with this bit, which is about the size of that hole. And then I use that as a starter to create like a bevel, some type of pitch, and then I came in with some smaller bits, which I just got finished doing with this one.
The next day.
One over here?
Yep.
So we drilled out this hole as best I could. When I had the big drill bit in there, it was straight, but when I went and brought the smaller one in to make it easier to build up, I kind of went up and to the left. I was able to only thread in about that much, 3 turns of the bolt, so 3 threads, which would be fine. I figured that'd be fine because this bolt holds it up, and I was like, this holds it up. It gets held on by the AC bracket in this bolt. That's when then things went janky. So this bolt, as you can kind of see, goes through here and bolts to the block. But this has been cut down on the block versus this one.
Yep.
Don't know. Hold on, let me put the flashlight on.
Yeah.
So right here is where it bolts to. You see how this is more rounded? So it goes in there. So I think that's just because this 5M bolt block, as you can see, has the thermostat housing here and the distributor. So there might have been something right here that got in the way. That's why this was shaved down. Not really sure, because both of them had the AC compressor right here. But anyway, what I tried to do was we tried to put a piece of quick steel on here. But when I was drilling through, because I knew once I started drilling this, it was going to kind of kick out. We put that on there, waited a couple days. I was in here drilling by myself, and it shot like 20 feet that way. So as you can see, that's kind of like what the hole sort of is. It's all fucked up. So the only way to fix that is to weld it. Cast iron is really hard to weld because you have to keep it at you have to keep the temperature of the material really high in order to weld it, and it's super cold outside. So like if this was the summer, that's when this should be fixed, or at least March, April, because what you have to do is you have to put like a torch on here, like a propane torch, heat that area to keep it hot, then come in with a welder and then fill it up with metal. And that could be possible. Fill that hole up with metal and then build off of it enough to drill a good pilot hole for that thing. Because the reason is because while this little bolt on the sides and this stuff is AC compressor, this not just holds up the AC compressor but holds up the adjustment arm for the alternator. So I can always say like fuck AC, but I need the alternator, and that's a critical point to hold the alternator. So because of that, this block is foobarred for right now. And I say right now because it's so cold outside. If I tried heating that with a propane torch and then welding it in, there's still a chance because it's so cold that somewhere else that's not being heated, where that thermal difference comes in, crack the block, and it might crack it where I can't see it, like internally. So because of that, we're not working on this block anymore. It sucks. I mean, I could always take this off, put the 5M stuff on. I have a 5M harness, wiring harness, and I could redo this head and wire my engine 5M. But that's too much work. The engine behind here, Jacob, the one we were covering, it ran. I mean, that's not the cylinder head that's on it, but it ran. So it didn't have rod knock. Didn't have any, we're going to test to make sure it doesn't have rod knock. But what I'm thinking is we're going to figure out what head's the best today in the next video, and we're going to we're going to figure out what head's the best, and then we're going to lap that head and slap that head onto this block and get it running like it is. Make sure it runs. Make sure there's no leaks or anything for the combustion chamber, and then I can always redo the water pump, redo the front rear seals, change the oil pan and oil pump out to the this one afterwards. But we can make sure that that engine's healthy enough to do that first. Because I know my engine that came out, it has rod knock. So it needs to be disassembled and inspected. Really inspected by a machine shop preferably, other than me just finding out what rod it is and changing it, because it might go bad. If this one doesn't have any signs of rod knock, which we're going to test in the next video, then that'd be the best bet. But yeah, we did get the head back from that machine shop that was cleaning it, and he pointed out some problems with the valve seats. This entire time, I was thinking about cam journals and straightness. I didn't think about the valve seats. I didn't know enough about that. So in the next video, we're going to explain all that to you guys, and when we compare the 3 heads I have and see which one's the best for that approach. Anyway, till next time, please.